Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this very special episode of Battle2BE Podcast, the Trauma Transformation Podcast. And tonight I have brought to you a special guest who, for the first time, is actually one of my clients. And he is here because he's had an amazing past couple weeks, and he wanted to share with you some of his experiences working with me in the Trauma Transformation Program. So please give a warm welcome to Jim Hallisey. And he's gonna tell us a little bit about himself, just in general, so that you kind of know what kind of people do we work with. So just give us a little background on what kind of things you like to do, what you do for a living, your interests.
I'm 64 years old. I'm very into music. I'm in my studio here where my band practices and we record. What else am I supposed to tell him, Krista?
Just a little bit about what do you do for a living? What's kind of your life circumstances?
My career was in electronics. I was an electronic technician. And about 15 years ago, that dried up, and we started a contracting business. And I actually work with my daughter, who is 41. We do remodeling and that kind of stuff. It's kind of cool to work with your kid, and especially your daughter, because people were just amazed that she can actually work like a man. And but she's a good person, and it helps with the customers too, because the customers really like having her there. So I was married at 18, and I stayed married for 42 years. And one day my wife came home and just said, it was a Wednesday, and she said, "I'm moving out on Friday." So obviously that was kind of a shock to my system, didn't really see it coming. And that's kind of how I ended up where I'm at right now. That's been about 4 or 5 years ago now. So
I always say people usually come to me because they are going through change, like major life transitions. And that often is the ending of a relationship, or children moving out, the change of a career, the death of a loved one, something like that. So what brought you onto this journey is really quite a normal reason to end up on this journey. But also, a lot of people end up here due to traumatic experiences, PTSD, trauma spectrum injuries, and that type of thing. So I wanted to showcase tonight someone who isn't here because of being in the military or being a first responder. I wanted to showcase tonight someone who is probably just like you and has what he considers to be a really normal life, and didn't even realize that he was having trauma patterns that were playing out over and over and over. So let's first look at the funny story of how did you find me? How did you pursue joining my program? Like, what inspired you to do that? No names.
I have a friend, very close friend, who had joined your program, and she had joined because she had a close friend that she watched go through the transformation and go through all of this healing. So my friend Lisa jumped in there, and she was, she worked with you, and I was just absolutely blown away by the progress she had been making. And my problems, like you had talked about before, not to compare problems, but my problems compared to a first responder or someone who has had drastic trauma or whatever, mine seemed small in comparison. However, they were holding me back, and that they were my problems, and I had true problems dealing with them. I had been in talk therapy for probably 3 years, and she got me pretty far, and she got me to where I was at, and I was doing okay, but I still had these certain things that just would consume my life. I would wake up in the middle of the night thinking about them. And again, in comparison to some other people's problems, they might not be that big, but they were huge to me. And Krista likes to say that this is not a competition. So when I saw how you helped Lisa out, I jumped on board, because I was like, you know what, I need to get past this. It was just this overwhelming kind of reaction to certain things just absolutely dominated my life, and I was tired of it. I was very tired of it. so that's how I ended up here.
And we always say that what we're trying to do with trauma transformation is to remove all of those obstacles that are holding you back, because it almost always is an anchor tied to your past experiences, tied to your reactions and your patterns of behavior that is causing all of the things that make you unhappy today. So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit just because you're one of my guys. And what tends to happen with my guys when they first come to me, because I am a woman and because I'm really soft-spoken and because a lot of the things that I do kind of seem strange at first. What was your initial response to some of the first exercises that I gave you?
Some of them, I just thought, I was very skeptical, but again, I knew the results. I'd seen the results. So I went ahead and did what you had said to do. But yeah, it was very, some of the stuff seemed so silly. And I thought, this is ridiculous. But, you know, like I said, I'd seen how it worked and whatnot. So I jumped into it. I really wanted to find the cause and a cure for my problems, because like I said, they were overwhelming to me. But one of the things that really was tough at the first time was the mirror work. And I'm going to confess something here. I got one time, probably 20 years ago, I got high one time, and I was so high that I was walking out of the bathroom and I caught my eyes in the mirror and I was like, whoa, you know what I mean? It was really kind of weird. So when I first started doing the mirror work, that was what I remembered, because you know, it was pretty stunning back then. But okay, I wasn't high this time, and I definitely I did the mirror work, and the more you do it, and the more it brings about results. I mean, there is absolutely no denying the results that I've gotten over the last. I think my friends are all sick of hearing it, but I've talked you up so much, because it's like, I can't believe how quickly, relatively speaking, that we've gotten to the problem and we've gotten to the solutions, and I just can hardly get over how good I'm feeling right now. And it's only been maybe 6 weeks. I'm not real sure when we started exactly, but
yep, 6 weeks.
Compared to the 3 years of talk therapy I had, I mean, this is like fast track to me. But, you know, my problems were very specific, and this is what I had to work on. And you helped me through every single one of them, including the waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and just basically beating the shit out of myself about things that had happened, and, you know, and just not knowing how to handle them. And that feeling in your stomach that you get when you're just so angry and so twisted up about it. And, you know, logically, I knew I shouldn't be that twisted up, but my emotions just weren't hearing any kind of logic. You know, it just wasn't happening. So
what he's talking about is every single exercise that I do, every single thing that I walk you guys through is chosen because it's scientifically based and founded in the way that your brain works and the way that we process thoughts, feelings, and emotions. But sometimes to access those points, we have to get really creative, and your brain works really well through pictures and images and symbols. So your brain doesn't always work with, let's just talk about something and everything will get better. Your brain works through tricking it via creativity and visualization and some other little tricky things that we do. So sometimes, especially my guys, sometimes when I give you guys an exercise, it seems like it's goofy. It seems like it doesn't make sense, but I guarantee you every single thing is very, very carefully crafted to get the exact result that we're looking for from a brain science standpoint. So there's nothing really spiritual. There's nothing really woohoo. There's nothing really psychedelic, shall we use that word, going on here. But it's really fun, that first little bit of experiencing when you're like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't really know what this chick is up to.
The other side of that, though, is like, I absolutely love how you bring it to science. You bring science out. You show me how I got there in this big circle of things, and it just makes so much sense to me. And as soon as that makes sense, it's so much easier to attack it now. I did notice that I tend to want to go back to my old ways when these things are happening to me. But now I know. Now I know that this is triggering me. I need to do this to stop that from happening. I operate largely off science and logic. I understand that speaks to me. And, you know, I don't want to bash my talk therapist, but she just would talk and say, well, I caution you that blah, blah, blah. But I don't need caution. I need somebody to grab me by the earlobe and show me what I'm doing wrong and show me how to get through it and how to get better over it is what, you know.
Yep. And it's been a journey of like extreme highs and extreme lows, but healing is never linear. So some days are fantastic and other days you wake up and you have this experience of, oh my gosh, I just realized something. And when I realized it, I just became aware of everything that I did around this situation to other people and the way that I've treated myself over the years. And you just have this like overwhelming sensation of, oh my gosh, awareness. How many times do you think you've been in that position?
The biggest one was only about a week ago, and it was such an epiphany that I literally got hand cramps from writing so much. I was journaling, and I had stooped to a kind of a new low, if you will, in my journey, in my process, and I felt that I had not only let you down, but I felt that that I had let myself down, that I had crossed over, and I had done all this for nothing. I was so low about it. I was ready to toss in the towel and just go about my ways. And then, but I texted you that evening, and you reassured me that I was not only, it wasn't a failure, that it was part of the healing process. And I got to admit, I doubted that, you know what I mean? Because I was like, I don't see how this is going to doubt. I just felt like crap, and I just felt like this was just not going to, you know, it was all for nothing. But yet within a day, the epiphany started rolling in, and I was like, oh, you know what I mean? And it was so amazing. And I have felt really, really good since then, you know, and I have a good life. I'm not going to try to kid anybody. I have a really good life. Like, I have lots of friends. I'm financially stable. I'm not rich. I'm not poor. You know, I have, my daughter lives with me. My grandson lives with me. I have a really good life, but yet I couldn't understand why I was so down and why I felt the way I did all the time. And that's what you helped me do. And I don't know how many times that's happened. None of them were that big of an epiphany, but there were a lot of times. And I love the fact that I can text you when I needed to talk to you, and you responded like really quick. And those were the times I really needed to talk to you, because, you know, I've talked to my friends before. I've cried on their shoulders. You know, they cry on my shoulders. That stuff all feels good, but it doesn't fix anything, you know. And working with you, I figured it out, and I figured out what was causing it. And that makes it just so much simpler to learn, you know, and to get better about the whole thing.
Sometimes what we're looking for is to be seen, to be heard and understood. And sometimes what we're looking for is a foot up the butt to push us just a little bit into being better human beings. So everything that happens with this work is not, I know a lot of therapists will tend to just kind of give you a positive feedback. They tend to kind of agree with you and kind of call you and give you that, you know, life is going to be okay, just keep pushing forward. And that a lot of people leave therapy feeling like they never were challenged, like they never were pushed into changing anything, like they never had the motivation to shift the way their mind was working, to change that mindset that was holding them back. So, and I have a very strong respect for the psychology community and for therapists. I just know that talk therapy has its limitations, and when you can access someone's thoughts, feelings, emotions, and behaviors from multiple access points, you're going to find the one that works for someone, instead of just always talking about the problem or where we are in this given moment. So that's kind of the approach, is to try a bunch of different things. Now, we tried hypnotherapy with you, and that was, well, I'll let you say that was not one of your most favorite of our explorations.
It just didn't quite work for me. I mean, I felt like I was relaxed and everything, but I didn't feel like I was hypnotized. And I don't know that there's anything back there that was in my past that was so huge that it caused my problems. I think my problems were learned over time, and they were learned over most of my life. Like I said, I was 18 years old. We had a kid right away before I was 21, I had two, and we had a third. So I mean, we had a rich, full life, actually. You know what I mean? But I developed patterns, and I developed patterns that worked with my wife, with my children, with my, the people that I was associating at the time. And those patterns weren't necessarily productive for me. You know what I mean? But they worked at the time. And here I was, basically a 60-year-old, 18-year-old boy starting all over again, trying to date, trying to come up with, I didn't even know what I wanted as far as a relationship goes. So I was out there bumbling and basically bouncing off of walls and running into obstacles. And it was just, I didn't understand. Every girl I met, I thought of her as I had thought my wife, because I never really dated. Like, my whole life was backwards. You know what I mean? And there I was, like, at 60 years old. And I read a really good quote. It was just a meme or something on Facebook, but it was like somebody asked an 80-year-old guy how he keeps on going all the time. And he said, my mind, I'm not 80 in my mind. I'm still in my 20s. And that's exactly the way I felt. Some people could understand it, some people couldn't. But that's exactly the way you feel. You don't feel like an old guy. You don't feel like an old woman. You know what I mean? You just feel like you feel. And I've felt that way all my life. You know what I mean? So basically I was stuck in that mindset. But here I was trying to date, trying to, have relationships and stuff. And I did some wrong things. I didn't do anything horrible. Nothing that I would get arrested by. But it's just, I bumbled. I hurt people's feelings. I got my own feelings hurt, stuff like that. And I just absolutely didn't know how to deal with it all. And you've helped me so much along those lines. It's just unbelievable. I mean, I'm sitting here right now as calm as I could be. And just, a couple of weeks ago, I was not. And 2 months ago, I was a mess. I mean, I was just a mess. I had no idea which way I was headed. I was feeling lousy. I was feeling depressed. I got on antidepressants and all that stuff, which I'm weaning myself off of them now because I don't think I need them anymore. I just feel really good. And I feel confident that it's going to last. That's the key. You can feel good for a couple of minutes or a day, and that doesn't really mean a lot. But when it's just amazing. I feel like I'm kissing a teacher's butt, but I'm sorry, but that's am I allowed to say butt? No.
Yes. This is unscripted, uncensored, and you can say anything.
Okay. But yeah, and I end up thanking you almost every single session that we've had in the one-on-ones. And that's what, to me, that's been most valuable. I'm still doing the program and I still do what I'm supposed to do. And it's all helping, but those one-on-ones, there's nothing worse than being so low and being so confused that you don't know what's going on or why. And then I talk to you and you're like, okay, here's what's going on, Jim. And you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is what's going on. That's what's causing that. And, and I many times I would get off and I'd be just like, sit the rest of the night thinking about all of what we had talked about. But it's just been fantastic. And I can't thank you enough.
Thank you. I promise you guys, I didn't tell him to say this. I didn't ask him to say this.
He did not even tell me what we were going to talk about.
So I talk a lot about this particular program being really useful in helping you improve relationships with other people. What have you noticed with relationship to that?
It changed my mindset. It just changed my mindset. Like one of the things that everybody said was you have to be attracted to someone first in order to have a relationship. And, I don't know that that's true anymore. I think I'm able to look beyond any kind of looks. I mean, and just, it's not about that anymore in my brain. It's about who you are and how you treat people and how you treat me, and how you respond to how I treat you. I mean, I'm at the age and a place in my life where I just want nothing but just I want chill. One of my favorite lyrics it's by a band called the Dawes, but it says, I just want you to make the days move easy. And that's what I want. I want someone to just make the days move easy. Prior to this, I was talking to women and trying and just not, none of it was ever going to work, which was quite this, that sets yourself up for failure right there. And again, that 20-some-year-old, I mean, I was always looking for that, that hot chick that, the 20-year-old or 30-year-old, I didn't go to 20, but 30 to 40-year-olds, and face it, they're not interested in somebody my age, you know what I mean? And if they were, it would be a horrible relationship, I think. You know what I mean? Because we're in different places in our lives completely than I would be with a 40-some-year-old. You know, it just doesn't make sense. I do have a girl now who's my girlfriend, and we are just absolutely happy with each other. And we haven't had a moment's problem. She said she hasn't gone through your course, but I can't help but think that somewhere along the life taught her what you're teaching me right now, because she's just very chill, and we just enjoy each other's company all of the time, you know, and every time we're together and we talk and everything. So it's come a long way. And, you know, in some ways I wish I had learned all this when I was young, but, you know, I jumped right out of the high school and, you know, right into being a father and being a husband and all that stuff. And I loved it. I really did. I enjoyed that. But now when I'm back at square one, I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? But yeah, now I feel like I do now. I feel like I could make those decisions and stay out of the bad situations that I had gotten myself into, and stop setting myself up for failure. You know what I mean? And for disappointment and for hurt. I've been so hurt by people, and a lot of that was because of my expectations. That was killer. You know, I would do things for people expecting, you know, them to react like I would react, and it doesn't always work like that. I mean, they don't even know what you're thinking half the time. But, you know, I would get upset and I would get hurt because they didn't understand, you know, or they weren't treating me the way I thought they should treat me, you know, and that's just a vicious cycle. You know, it's just a horrible place to be. And you helped me get away from that and understand, you know, I am who I am. And, you know, my girlfriend now appreciates me for who I am. She, you know, she doesn't want to change me. I love that. I don't want to change her. I love that. And we just absolutely get along. And I haven't had that since forever. Just forever. So, did I answer your question? I feel like I keep going off on tangents.
No, you're not really. No.
Okay.
No, I mean, there's some subtext here that only you and I understand. So sometimes some people might not have caught the relevance of everything that you just said, but we're not going to go deeper on that. So the other thing that I would love to ask you, because this is a question that I would really like to help people with, is if you knew that someone was like on the fence, trying to decide if they wanted to work with me, what would you tell them?
Well, like I told you, I think my friends are tired of me talking about it, but I encourage almost everyone that I know has some kind of issue, whether it's a horrible something that happened in their past, like a horrible trauma, or something like mine, which was not necessarily horrible trauma, but everyone has something like that. Everyone has something in there that bothers them, that keeps them, that prevents them from being happy. I went and visited someone last night who's near and dear to me, and I sat there and I just thought, oh my God, you should talk to Krista Fee, because she just went round and round and just kind of so negative about things. And it's like, and she was actually bitching when she wasn't bitching. You know what I mean? It was just like her thing, you know? And I'm thinking to myself, my gosh, I wish you would hook up. But, you know, you can't force, and I use hook up in a different way than the world does now, by the way. But yeah, and I think that if you have anything on your mind that you're like, wow, I wish I was that happy, you should contact this lady and sign up, because I can almost say I could guarantee that you won't be sorry. It's been that life-changing to me, and it's only been, like I said, about 6 weeks or so, and it's absolutely amazing. And we're only about halfway through the course, right? A little bit more than halfway through the course. Yep. So I look forward to it now. Like, I laid in bed last night and read and watched videos for over an hour, just absorbing everything. I find that a lot of the stuff you tell me too, or you have written, it takes me a while to suck it all in, because every line has relevance to it. So I will sit there and I'll read the whole thing, and then I go back a couple days later and reread it. And every time I read it, it sinks in a little bit more, because you had explained that we're trying to change the neural pathways, the way I think about things. So you can't just read something like that one time. I can't anyway, and it make a difference. I like to read it over and over again, because I want it to change my everyday behavior. I don't want it to just change the way I feel at the moment. I want it to change what got me into all of this pain and this hurt, and, you know, my feelings getting hurt. And I've always been pretty good about treating others the way I wanted to be treated, but it really hurts when they don't treat me the way I want them to treat me, if that makes sense.
Yep. So much. So is there anything going on in your world that you would like to promote right now? Do you have, is your band playing someplace coming up? Do you have any events? Do you have anything that you'd like to share with folks who we know some of your people are watching? So anything you would want to give up?
Thanks to Facebook, they pretty much know when the band's playing. But yes, music has been my life for quite some time. Some might even say that's what kind of ruined my marriage. I don't know. But, it's just been a passion of mine. And I mean, I'm sitting in this studio. I've been a very lucky person all my life. I have a beautiful studio that basically, I worked hard to get it, but it's mine, and it's a wonderful thing. Music is the world to me. And last year it really stunk. You know what I mean? We weren't able to go out and play. For a long time, we weren't even able to get together. And normally we get together once a week. So right now, all of that is back on track. My band fell apart 3 times over the pandemic, which was kind of fortunate because nobody had to know that. You know what I mean? We just kept putting it back together with different people. So I have a tremendous bunch of people in my band right now, and we have been playing. We played several shows. We've had one canceled due to weather, but yeah, we have upcoming stuff all summer long. We've been booked. Plus the fact that I love to go to concerts. So between me playing and the concerts that I'm going to be going to, I mean, I am booked through August almost solid. So it's just a wonderful thing. And to feel this good with all that coming out, like, yeah, it's just unbelievable. It's a wonderful thing. It truly is. Yeah. I'm enjoying life more now than I have for quite some time, probably 5 years, So there you go. Call Krista V. You won't regret it. I feel like I should be a used car salesman right now, but
The funny thing about this is, like, I really wanted to give people an opportunity to talk to some people who've been through this, because I don't feel like coming from me, it sounds sincere. Like, I can tell you your life is going to be completely transformed. I can tell you that, like, you're not even going to be able to imagine the results you're going to get. Like, what you think is going to happen is not even halfway to what is going to happen. But people don't understand that. So I just really wanted to share some words from just a few of my clients so that people could see the real thing. People could see how happy you are. Like, it radiates off of you. It's easy to see that you're actually glowing.
Oh, it's real. It's definitely real. And like I said, the reason I came to you is because I saw what it did for what you did for my friend. I couldn't believe it. Like, I'd been talking to her and just trying to help her through all these things. We would call each other and bitch and cry and moan and all this stuff. And it never changed, though. It was always, it was comforting to have someone I could talk to, but it wasn't change. And when I saw what she was going through and how she changed her life, and it was from a distance, because as soon as she started changing her life, she became less available to me because she was out doing things and enjoying her life, and which was a wonderful thing. But she had also gotten interested because she noticed one of her friends was all of a sudden sounding so much better and feeling well. And she actually texted her and said, "What the hell did you do with my friend? What's going on with you?" You know what I mean? Like, why are you so happy all of a sudden? And it was Krista Fee and your program. And then from there, like I said, so I knew, I felt confident anyway that you were going to be able to help me, because I knew I had no reason on the surface to be depressed or upset or angry. I had none. I had no reason. My life was fine. But inside of me, I felt so much there were nights where I didn't care if I woke up in the morning. I never thought of killing myself, but there were times where I was like, if I died, it'd be okay. I wouldn't have to deal with this shit anymore. You know what I mean? And that's pretty powerful. I think we all go through that once, at times during our life, but I had everything, not just physically things, but I had everything around me that should make a person happy, and I wasn't, and I couldn't figure out why, and I think it was our first or second meeting where you cracked the code for me, and I was like, oh my God, I think I love this lady. I'm not letting her go. Like, don't leave me. We're getting somewhere here, and you didn't. I just absolutely, like I said, I think my friends are tired of me trying to talk them into calling you. Matter of fact, I think one of my friends has hooked up with you, so that's cool. She needs some help, and she's going to get it, and she deserves it. That's the other thing. I think everyone deserves it. Like, some of the stuff that happened to me once my wife and I split up, especially with my kids, they said, "You're not the same person you were before," and I would say that's right. I'm not, but I'm not. I didn't turn mean. I didn't turn nasty. I'm a different person, and I think it was because they saw that that I was taking care of myself and that I was more comfortable making decisions and it took a long time, but right now I can handle if they're mad now, I can handle them because they're not going to get through them. They're not going to drag me down. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life worrying about things I can't change. There's certain things you can't change, and I cannot change how someone else thinks or feels. And that's a big, that's kind of an epiphany when you realize, I've read that before, but I never understood it. You know what I mean? It never made sense to me. Now it makes sense. So, yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking your time to come here today and share your journey with others. I think it's going to make a really big impact in some people, because I know one thing that holds people back is that feeling that my trauma isn't worthy, that I'm not hurt enough to ask for support, that I don't deserve healing or happiness. And that's why it was so important for me to bring some of my clients who are normal, everyday people who probably came with that very belief system that well, I didn't go through all this stuff. I'm not a battle tested individual that has legitimate PTSD. I'm not, a fireman who sees people die. I'm not all these things. Why do I deserve this? And
right.
It's a common thing that people are like, I need to just suffer because other people suffer more. So
I would think someone in my shoes might sit and not even realize that they could use some help. You know what I mean? You sink into a routine, and your everyday routine, and just things go okay, and you watch your television at night or whatever you do. And I think there's some people that don't even realize. I think it would pay for them to sit and kind of ponder, am I really happy? Am I the person that I want? Am I where I wanted to be in life? You know what I mean? Am I headed towards where I wanted to be in life? All that kind of stuff. And I think those are the people that they're probably I was probably a piece of cake to you, you know what I mean? But your help was just enormous. It's I don't know. I feel like I'm using too many superlatives, but it was, to me, what you helped me get through was monumental to me. You know what I mean? I needed to get there. And I think that there's probably people watching this or that will watch it that kind of don't know if they even deserve this kind of stuff, but I'm telling you, man, if you can spend a few bucks on a crappy vacation, heck, why not spend some money on yourself? You know what I mean? It's like, this is real, and it's changed my life, and I'm going to keep it that way because I like it this way. So there you go.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and let everybody get off tonight, and you have an amazing night, and I will talk to you next week.
All right. Thank you very much, Krista.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too.
And to all you guys out there, I want you to know that if you wake up in the morning and you are not 100% convinced that you are ready to embrace your day, you are excited to wake up, and you are just feeling something, if you're not having that experience in the morning, give me a call. We'll have a conversation. And have an excellent night. Krista Fee signing off.